Welcome back to another episode of Tech Talk Today. I'm your host, and today we're diving into an interesting and somewhat technical topic: open source licenses, specifically the MIT license, and the implications for developers working on projects like Ollama that depend on other libraries such as llama.cpp. So what's the big deal here? Well, when you use an open source library like llama.cpp, it comes with certain obligations under its license, specifically the MIT license, which is one of the most permissive licenses out there. It allows you to use, modify, and distribute the software with few restrictions. However, there's a catch. It requires you to include the original copyright notice when you distribute your own software, both in source code and binary form. Now you might wonder, why does this matter? Picture this. You're working on your latest game or a shiny new app, and you decide to incorporate some fantastic functionality from an existing library. It's like adding a powerful tool to your toolbox, right? But before you hand it off to users, you've got to make sure you include that copyright notice from the original library. It's a bit like giving credit to the chef whose recipe inspired your signature dish. This requirement can sometimes feel like a burden, especially if you're not familiar with the intricacies of open source licensing. I mean, can you imagine spending hours coding a project only to realize you forgot to include that crucial notice? Oops. And this brings up an interesting question. How do developers navigate these obligations while still maintaining their creative flow? There are some neat strategies, like using automated tools that check your project for license compliance, or even incorporating the notices directly into your README files, making it easier to share your project without missing the mark. Plus, let's think bigger here. We have to consider how this all impacts the evolution of open source software. As more and more developers contribute to projects like Ollama, it creates an ecosystem of shared resources. But of course, this sharing comes with responsibilities. If you don't follow the licensing rules, you could find yourself in hot water. It's a balance of creativity and compliance. All right, let's take a step back and think about this. If you had to explain this concept to a friend over coffee, how would you break it down? You might say that open source software is all about community and collaboration, but it also requires a respect for the original creator's work. Before we wrap up, let's summarize what we've discussed today. We talked about the MIT license and its distribution requirements, the importance of including copyright notices in projects, and how this shapes the open source community. It all boils down to respecting the work of others while harnessing their innovations to enhance your own. Thank you for joining me on this tech journey today. Remember, whether you're coding your next big project or simply fascinated by how software licenses work, understanding these concepts can empower you in the digital age. Until next time, keep exploring the world of technology